There are more twins today than ever. This is because the later you decide to give birth, the higher your chances to get twins, and people today tend to create families later than ever before. There are more living things on and inside your body than there are people on Earth, and not just twice or 3 times so. The numbers are simply mind-blowing. Speaking of which, bacteria make up from 2 to 9 pounds of your body weight. It's hard to imagine how many of them there are in your body. If you have a kid, be prepared for question bombardment. An average 4-year-old asks something over 400 times per day. There's a chili pepper you can't eat if you want to stay alive. It's never used in cooking though. It was designed as a painkiller. Scientists believe Leonardo da Vinci could write with one hand and draw pictures with the other at the same time. Talk about multitasking. Your outer skin gets totally replaced each month. Overall, an average human sheds about 40 pounds of skin throughout their life. There's a room in Microsoft's headquarters in Washington that holds a world record for being the quietest room in the world. Standing inside it, you can hear your heart beating. In August 2010, Beijing witnessed the longest traffic jam ever. It lasted 10 days and was 62 miles long. The metric system is the most widely accepted system of measurement in the world. Only 3 countries still use the imperial units: Liberia, Myanmar, and the US. John D. Rockefeller still holds the record as the richest man in the world. His net worth, adjusted for inflation, is 10 times more than that of Bill Gates. Starfish can not only regenerate their lost limbs, but even a limb can regenerate the whole starfish. Well, that's cool. Thanks to the Montreal Protocol signed in 1987, scientists believe the Earth's ozone layer will fully restore itself within a half-century. Yahoo! In 2011, Forbes decided to estimate the net worth of Scrooge McDuck. They came to a conclusion that it was $44.1 billion. If taken together, all ants in the world will weigh as much as the whole human population of the planet, and then some. Chicken are more than twice as numerous as humans. In 2009, their overall number in the world was estimated to be 18.6 billion. Purple is the least popular color when it comes to national flags. There are just 2 countries in the world that use it in theirs: Dominica and Nicaragua. If you've seen snow in your lifetime, consider yourself lucky. 2/3 of people on the planet can't say the same thing about themselves. Domestic chicken is the closest relative of dinosaurs. Yes, including the mighty T-Rex. Leaves on trees turn yellow and red come fall because they don't have enough warmth and sunlight to produce the green pigment chlorophyll. Cold nights and bright sunny days mean more vibrant colors. Bart Simpson should be older now than his mother was in the first season of the show. That is, if the yellow family aged normally. There's a $20 coin made in 1933 that was sold 70 years later for more than $7 billion. Also, it was never actually used as currency. Don't ever suppress a sneeze if you don't absolutely have to. The pressure can result in a rupture of a blood vessel in your head or neck, which can lead to injury. There's a town in Honduras where every year, at around the same time of the year, it rains fish. Scientists don't have an explanation for this phenomenon yet. Although there are 24 hours in a day, there are more than 24 time zones on the globe. Some of them are just 45 or even 30 minutes apart from their closest neighbors. Jeep is actually an abbreviation. Originally, it was called a GP, or a General Purpose Vehicle. The first Native American to greet the Pilgrims, whose name was Samoset, could speak English even before he met them. Sweden is the largest island country in the world. It has over 221,800 islands, only about 1,000 of which are inhabited. A jellyfish melts in the sun because it's 95% water. Talk about cucumbers. In 2012, twin girls Amy and Katie were born 87 days apart. They're now in the Guinness World Records for the longest gap between the birth of twins. All pandas in the world's zoo belong to China. If you see a giant panda at a zoo, you can be sure it's just a guest there. If you were to watch every video on YouTube, you'd have to spend 1,000 years on that, and then about 1,000 times more because of all the new videos that would appear by then. A mouse's bones are so flexible, it can fit into a ballpoint pen-sized hole. If you cage one, make sure the grid is small enough. The most popular language in the world is not English, and by far. The title belongs to Mandarin Chinese, with over 1 billion speakers around the globe. The record for the longest-lasting hiccups belongs to a man named Charles Osborne. He had this condition for 69 years straight. Human fingers are extremely sensitive as an evolutionary perk. If your fingertips were the size of Earth, you'd feel the difference between a one-story house and a car. China is home to the most bicycles in the world. However, the most bike-friendly city is Copenhagen in Denmark. A giraffe's tongue is so long, the animal can clean its own ears with it, which it does every so often. I am jealous. A hummingbird's heart beats at an average rate of 1,200 beats per minute. That's 20 beats per second. Only about 86% of the world's adult population can read, and is considered a huge leap forward compared to half a century ago. Lobsters, due to their cold-blooded nature, can come back to life after being frozen and thawed again. And they are delicious. Just saying. Prairie dogs kiss each other to say hi. Aww. Facebook can qualify as a country of its own. Today, there are over 2 billion people using it, which is more than the population of the US, China, and Brazil combined. Africa is a challenger, though. By 2050, it's estimated to grow to 2.3 billion people living there. During a flight on an airplane, our sense of smell and taste is 20 to 50% lower than usual. That's why the food on board doesn't seem delicious. Japan is home to the oldest hotel in the world. It's been welcoming guests since 705 CE. French was the official language of England for about 450 years. In 1066, William the Conqueror, who was of the French origin, brought the language to the country. Some of the first graffiti of the similar kind we have today appeared in Pompeii. They date back almost 2,000 years. The full name of Oz, from The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, was actually Oscar Zoroaster Friedrich Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambrose Diggs. Yeah, I can see why he shortened it to Oz. Less keystrokes. Cows are highly social creatures, and they even have best buddies they spend most of their time together with. They become upset if they get separated, too. In case you didn't notice, goats have rectangular pupils, and they're the only animals with such an eye structure. There's archaeological evidence of an extinct penguin species that was about 6 feet tall. Imagine a penguin looking at you straight in the eye. Hey, nice ducks. You too, pal. It rains diamonds on Jupiter and Saturn. This happens because methane turns into carbon, which then hardens to become graphite and eventually diamond. High heels were originally menswear. In ancient Egypt, butchers wore them to avoid blood on the floor. Dogs don't see the world in shades of gray. In fact, they can see colors, just fewer of them than people. The name of the man who invented cotton candy was William Morrison. He was a dentist. There's a thunderstorm in Venezuela that occurs every year and lasts for about 140 to 160 nights. It even has a name, Catatumbo. Michelangelo couldn't stand painting the Sistine Chapel ceiling so much that he even wrote a poem about it. Ever got chills from listening to your favorite track It's because your brain reacts to it by releasing dopamine, the happiness hormone. Figures. You probably know that tomatoes are technically berries, right? Well, bananas, peppers, and eggplants are too. John Cage, an avant-garde composer, wrote the longest musical piece in history. It's supposed to be played as slowly as possible, and it's estimated to take 639 years to play to the end. Black belt in martial arts, such as karate, translates from Japanese as first step. That's because achieving the black belt is just literally the first stage of mastering the art, with much more to come yet. Charlie Chaplin once entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and lost it. The same happened with Dolly Parton almost 100 years later, in 2012. Mark Zuckerberg is red and green colorblind. That's why he designed Facebook in shades of blue. That's the color he can see best. Horseshoe crabs have a total of 10 eyes, 2 of which are located right on its hard shell. Well, what did you expect from a creature that's called a living fossil?